10 moments from the episode and my one, ooh. So we open with Like a Virgin and we have Fallon rocking Madonna circa 1984 MTV Awards. And whilst Madonna used the outfit to writhe around on the stage, Fallon is using the outfit to writhe around on the chauffeur. So it's 80s a go-go in this episode with the Carrington charity gala. So everybody's got to dress up in 80s outfits. Number 1 is Stephen's line. It's so good. I know we talked about it briefly in the last episode because it was highlighted in the previews. I'm being charged with murder. I can't go to an 80s dance party. Now I'm sorry, Stephen. I'm not sure there is ever a reason anyone can't go to a 80s dance party, murder or not. Number 2. Crystal thinks the gala should be cancelled because from a PR point of view, you know, having the son of Carrington under suspicion of murder, it just doesn't look quite right. Fallon is completely against this, of course, probably just because it's Crystal's idea. And Fallon says, that's the worst idea since my father proposed to you, Crystal. Why should those underprivileged kids lose their chance at education because you can't be bothered to get a blowout? Now, while I like the sentiments of this sentence, Fallon, I have to point out, this is an 80s party. The hair can be scrunched, it can be curled, it can be teased. A blowout has no place in this. Far too smooth. Number 3, Venezuelan food truck that doubles as a wire transfer. So Crystal through Sam hears that her sister is in a panic. She's been robbed and she seems to be worried that somebody's coming for her. She needs money to relocate. So Crystal goes to this food truck and we think we're gonna get a hit of Venezuelan food, and actually she's trying to transfer money. But while she tries to transfer the 10 grand to her sister Iris, her card doesn't go through. And she returns back to the Carrington mansion, and Anders says to her that he's closed her accounts basically. He's taken her pennies and added them to Blake's millions. She says, I didn't give you permission to do that. He says, I don't need it. It was in the prenup. But why read the small print? Like every woman who lies about her age, her name, her IQ, you married for love. Anders, that's harsh even for you. I think he tries to take away the sting by handing her a black luxury credit card, although he does say any big spend he flags for Blake. So it doesn't look like Iris is getting her money anytime soon. 4. Mentions of Alexis. We get 5 of them to be precise. First one happens when Blake has Fallon served with a cease and desist letter. And when she confronts her father saying, since when is the Carrington name trademarked? Blake doesn't even look up from his papers and says, since your mother used it to sell lip plumping kits. Number 2, when Blake says to Crystal that he doesn't want any secrets between them because it was secrets that tore apart his marriage to Alexis. Number 3, when Stephen is playing Soft Cell's Tainted Love on the piano. Tainted Love was actually originally done by Gloria Jones. Soft Cell's was a cover version. But since we bleed in from the live version of Tainted Love into the piano version, I think we can go with it. It was a cover of the Soft Cell version. And Blake sits down next to Stephen and said, it was your mother that got you the piano lessons. Actually, I wanted you to have boxing lessons. Blake is having a heart-to-heart with Fallon and talking about her birth and how important it was to him, and says that actually he wanted to call her Ellen, but that Alexis, after reading one of her crazy feminist books, had come across the name Fallon, which meant daughter of a ruler, with Alexis being the ruler, of course. Number 5. So Anders, after the robbery, is taking an inventory of the things that have gone missing. Initially they think it's just Crystal's engagement ring, but there seems to be a number of things that have gone. And Anders says, along with some of your lesser Rolexes, the Harry Winston's emerald cufflinks that Alexis bought for Blake, one Guy Fawkes, had also gone missing. So the reference to Guy Fawkes night is quite interesting because I feel like it's some sort of clue, kind of Easter egg to the origins of Alexis. She's either going to be raised, educated, or born in Britain, or just full-on British. Guy Fawkes night is a English holiday on the 5th of November. We even have a sort of rhyme to it. Remember, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. It's where we, it sounds outrageous, I know. It's where we commemorate a plot in 1605 where a chap, he was the leader of a group, but the main chap was Guy Fawkes, who tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. He was hung, drawn and quartered for his troubles, And every year we build a big bonfire, we make an effigy of Guy Fawkes, who we call the Guy, and we put him on top of the fire and we burn him to a crisp. And it's actually a sort of a children's occasion. You know, you bring out the kids and you get warm by the fire in the cool November night. I know it sounds pretty outrageous when you say it like that. The fact that it's even mentioned makes me think that she's going to be of British origin, which is, you know, always do like a good bitch with a British accent. I don't know how spurious this is. I had read that Catherine Zeta-Jones' name had been mentioned. Oh my word, that would be amazing! Can you imagine? Could they pull that off? Could they get Catherine Zeta-Jones? Please come and have some fun, Catherine. It would be so good. I would love to see you as Alexis in this new version of Dynasty. My number 6 is the outfits that everybody wore for the 80s charity gala. People went to some effort. I like it. We had Fallon, we talked about earlier, she was in Madonna 1984 Like a Virgin outfit. And she tried on some other outfits in the episode. She tried on this kind of silver strapless ruched affair with kind of like a Godzilla sleeve. But she turns to the maid Millie and says, I think I need something more taffeta with bigger sleeves. That is respecting the 80s. I like it, Fallon. What Fallon ends up choosing is a sort of two-piece metallic blue, and I don't quite know how to describe their sleeves. They're kind of layered, poofy, big, and the only disappointing thing is that Fallon has very contained hair, and maybe she just didn't want to detract from the sleeves. But it would have been very fun to see her in some spiral curls. The best 80s hair goes to Crystal, who has got the three things right. It is big, it is curly, and it is solid. That hairdo is not moving. And she's rocking a really nice silver long dress with sort of silver opera sleeves. Very fetching. And then we have the chaps, and they are not letting the side down. We have Blake in full Gordon Gekko Greed is Good mode, with a smidge, just a smidge of American Psycho maybe. All slicked back hair and red braces. Then we have Anders. He's pulling out all the stops. He's channeling his inner Don Johnson. He's wearing a white suit with a black t-shirt, and you kind of get the feeling that he actually already owned this. He just dug it out of the back of his wardrobe. But my absolute favorite is Sam. I'm really practicing. I keep wanting to say Sammy Joe, and Crystal even calls him Sammy Joe at one point. So if I slip, it's okay. Crystal has slipped ahead of me. So Sam, he is full John Hughes. He is Ducky from Pretty in Pink. And all the way down to his quiff. He looks so cute. It's just adorable. I really love that. The only way it could have got better is if Sammy had broken into a bit of try a little tenderness. Number 7, Michael the chauffeur. He seems the most normal person in this whole show. And I have to say, he seems like a bloody good bloke. I mean, he seems to be taking a ride from Fallon, but his feelings seem to be quite genuine. He seems like a really good guy, and he seems to give her good advice. I think she's very lucky to have him. So he says to her earlier in the episode, because she's fretting, she has been served a cease and desist order. She cannot use the Carrington name, so how is she going to set up her new business? Because she wants to use her name and, you know, the business contacts. And she feels without it, she's not going to be able to achieve this. And he says, you know, maybe you just do a one-name thing, like Madonna, like Rihanna, like Kanye. She doesn't seem very taken with this argument. But later in the show, to the tune of New Order's Temptation, he tells her that she is so smart and so clever that she just doesn't need the name. She can stand on her own 2 feet. And this is clearly catnip for her, because she jumps in his arms and she tells her father that she doesn't need the Carrington name. She's got the Carrington blood, and that's enough. Number 8, Crystal's flashback. We don't get wavy lines. We don't get concentric circles. We get full-on interrupting transition, glitchy flashback. Cut to Venezuela 12 years ago. We see Crystal bunging a lot of money, a whole wedge of money into a bag. We see her sister Iris sewing it into a Muppet pink fur lined coat and talking about this being their chance to get to America. Then we see her In another flashback later on in the episode, we see her waiting in a car park. A guy in a truck arrives. Clearly he's going to be one taking them over the border, but her sister's not there. The cops arrive, she jumps in the truck, and she goes without her sister. So this is clearly why she feels she owes her sister, and she's sending money back to Venezuela. Although she didn't manage to do that so far. But Sam takes care of that, don't worry. Number 9. So Jeff wants to know where Fallon is and bumps into Anders and says, you know, do you know where she is? To which he says, I know the general location of every true Carrington at all times. And you can see Jeff's face, he's like, okay dude, I just want to know where she is now. Can you point me in the direction? Number 10. The cliffhanger. Blake is in an absolute panic along with his lesser Rolexes. He realises that Matthew Blaisdell's phone has gone missing. He turns and says, you get a big close-up, that what is on that camera could ruin the Carrington family. The only person who could treat this news with as much foreboding as Blake is Anders. And that's who we turn to, the two men who will do anything to protect the Carrington name. What's on the phone? We'll find out next week. Well, actually, they kind of tell us in the upcoming next week, trust us, we will come back. You don't need to give us so much information. So the thing that I was like, is 9 minutes in, we get titles. We get a whole sort of Jean-Michel Jarre sounding version of Dynasty, which, you know, is great. I didn't, you know, the full orchestration, strings and everything was the original, and I know they've got to mix it up, but that was okay. But the titles themselves were a bit plain. I mean, you know, it was gold and it was sparkles, but you know, it wasn't just wasn't fun. It wasn't as luxe. It didn't feel in keeping with the rest of the program. So hopefully they mix that up. This is so fun. This is so fast paced. It deserves better titles.
I knew we weren't that ugly. I knew it.